Today we are going to start on the refacing of our existing fireplace. This brickwork was done by an amateur, and if you notice, if you look really carefully, and I don't expect you would take the time, but you can look at the courses of brick and see that they made a mess with even the spacing of the brick. I'm not even quite sure how they did this. And the other point is that the levelness of this is ridiculous. It's out by about an inch from right to left, leaning down. You may even be able to see that on the video. Trying to hold it so that you could witness that, but in any event, it's way out of whack. So my attempt today is to clean up the inside of the door, inside of the firebox. I can't show you today. I will take a video when I get the cover off to show you how poorly they even finished off inside the box. I'm going to clean all that out today, and then I'm going to point and put new edges on with mortar and then resurface it. That's the plan. So I will try to keep you up to date and give you every little step as I go. I haven't done this before, like many things I've attempted. This is all new to me, but I don't think it's anything beyond my capability. So, see you later. Okay, now that I have it apart, or I've taken the face off the doors, you can see what I'm talking about here. The alignment of the brick is just a mess. Again, I'm not sure what they were thinking, just laziness, not cutting the brick properly. But in any event, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find the best plumb line that makes sense. I'll make a mark, and then rather than taking my cutoff saw to it, which will make an absolute mess of everything in the house, I'm going to attempt to just drill into the brick, chip it off, and then I will reframe that whole brick face before or actually as the process goes on. That's my plan for now. And yes, I got to stop full insulation because in the wintertime it's drastically cold. Okay, so I've established a plumb line, and I've allowed for the mortar mix of about 1/8 of an inch on the inside. So if you follow this line down the chimney that I've drawn, you'll see what I'm up against is I need to knock off the front edge of a couple of those bricks. So if I zoom in here, you'll see that on the right hand side I really only have one that's really in the way, but very much in the way. If I come back out here and go over to the left hand side now, I've established the same thing, leaving about a good 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more for mortar. So I've drawn a plumb line straight down so I can identify what's in the way. And as you can see, I have 3 bricks in the way that are going to have to be chopped back. And then through the mortaring process, that will become a nice clean edge. Again, that's my plan. So we'll see where we go from there. So again, if I didn't do that, that edge would always be nasty. I can't leave that for the next person. I mean, I could just hide it in behind, but I would rather fix it while we got it apart. Okay, a few minutes of hard labor with a chisel and a hammer. I tried the carbide tip drill approach, but that brick was just too hard for what I had, so I resorted back to just physical labor, and we won. So if you look at my straight edge now, I know this might be hard to see, but you can see that the brick right to the bottom is clearing that straight edge now, and I've left room for the mortar. So I'm going to build out a frame to mortar inside the box first. You can see on this side, I'll turn the lamp around here, give it a little more light. You can see on this side, I hand chiseled that back. Looks pretty brutal, but once that's all mortared up, it'll look like a nice plastered wall and be fireproof as well. Okay, so took a little bit of work, a little sweat, a few chips flying around, but other than that, we have it ready to start framing up. I also noticed while I was sizing this whole job up that if you look straight down the chimney, and I'll even put the video up against the chimney, you can see how out of whack, if you look at the floor tile being the black, and if you look up against the chimney, this chimney is nowhere near being true. I slide that along. So there is going to be quite a bit of work to fix that trueness up. You can see it goes for a wild ride here. Like way in the wall, way out of whack compared to the firebox. And if you go so quite a bit of work going to happen to square this up. It's almost easier or maybe even cheaper to just have a mason in that knows what they're doing, because I certainly don't, but and get it done properly. You know, for a masonry job like a chimney, don't attempt it yourself. You know, maybe go outside and build a pizza oven in the backyard if you want to try masonry. But those guys are tradesmen, they know what they're doing. And so lesson learned from this person that put this in, but you will be amazed when I get this finished. Okay, carrying on with our fireplace project. If you remember, prior to COVID, I started this project, and then we all got sidetracked with COVID. It's now middle of July, and I've gotten back to this. So if you refer back to my other videos, you will see, I believe I had just been able to get the brick broken back the way I needed it. So you can see I've put a first parge on here today on both sides, just to get the line, and it still needs some straightening up, which I will do when I make those plumb. And as you recall, this was way out of whack. So now if you look down, you'll see that it's come more true. So we have that corner built up. The next step is to build out both the right and left hand sides to make sure they're plumb. And then I'll do the inside of the box where the parging is today to plumb those up. And then I will parge between the 2 points. Okay, so doesn't look like an awful lot. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, when I tore this apart today, I found that those 2 fire bricks had come apart, so I went and cemented those back in as well and repositioned them, and now they're safe. Okay, so that's about 4 hours worth of work right there. Doesn't look like much, and we'll carry on tomorrow. Okay, we're back at the fireplace project this morning. Where we left off yesterday was we did some initial parging to straighten out some messes, I guess. So you can see how it's turned out today. Pretty good for a scratch coat. Put the blocks back in place. I think we went through all that, but it's really cured up nicely, ready for a second coat. So what I've done this morning is I've addressed a couple of other issues. Mainly this big crack that goes right down the center of the fireplace. It hasn't gotten any worse over the last 30 years, but what I did do this morning is I did put some stainless steel pipe strap in under tension across that crack twice. I didn't want to do it a third time because I was getting off close to the firebox and I didn't want to interfere with anything or make the crack worse. But my theory here is that the mud will actually go right in behind that strapping and become part of the actual concrete, and it will at least help it. The other thing I've done is that I've addressed the sides, and as you can see from yesterday's parging, I pretty well nailed the bottom mess that was there and straightened it out and got a good line for this morning that I'm going to address and bring that whole line back in with another addition of some parging. So you can see I've set up a plumb line all the way down, and I'm going to plumb to that board. I don't have to parge around the corner because we're going to be putting bookcases there, but I do want a true line on the fireplace. I don't want to have to hide it behind a molding or something. And I've done the same on the right hand side, which is actually not too bad. The bricks are out of whack, as you can see, but we'll fill those in. And then I have my trusty straight edge, and if you don't own one of these, you should get one. It's a 75-inch straight edge that I keep handy. And I know this is probably going to be hard to see on the video, but if I put this straight edge across the fireplace like that, it will be true when I get finished between those two points that I've set up. Okay, that's the plan. So I'm going to parge these in. And sorry, I was moving around quite a bit there, but you can see along the edge, that's going to straighten up that whole edge in there. And I know I'm moving pretty quickly across over to my other line, and that should solve the problem of the fireplace being so far out of whack. Again, I don't have to worry about going around the right hand edge either, because we'll be putting bookcases there. I just want something true to work with when building the bookcases. Okay, so again, I think it worked out really well for the first parging job of my career, and we'll carry on from there. Okay, the first parging is done. The scratch coat, pretty involved, took me a couple hours. I built out these guides down each side, like I mentioned before. I know you're supposed to probably take those off before it dries, but I'm not doing around the corner. So I just wanted to have something really clean and straight more than anything. So I'm not too worried about that. The inside is all done. I've squared everything up. You can probably see everything is nice and square now in the box itself. Another guide up the side here, and then along the top is all finished off. And I've already screeded it once. You can see the screed marks just to get it square. And from where it started till now, I think it's out maybe 1/4 of an inch right to left, and that's about it. It was out probably an inch left to right, and then mainly down the left hand side here. And as you can see, I'll go up here, hopefully this view will give you an idea. You see how nice and square that is to the floor now, and it was so far out before. And this time I won't drag the video along the fireplace like I did before. I made an awful sound, sorry about that. But you can see, if you're looking down, it's nice and square. Quite a job. See, it's all scratch coated. I commend these laborers and master plasterers that are able to do this, because it's quite an art. You can see how straight that is and clean. Okay, so tomorrow, the next day, whenever, I'm going to put the finish coat on there and then smooth it all out. Fireplace will be done.